K-Man app
is where you can listen to Radio K-Man everywhere you go.
Everywhere we go, we go. Everywhere we go, we go.
Find it in the Google Store, the Apple Store, or use the link at www.radiokman.gov.ky.
Yes, now you can listen to Radio K-Man everywhere.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio K-Man's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio K-Man's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
And good afternoon, Radio K-Man Nation, on a very happy Wednesday. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio K-Man. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions, and invite you to join us and our conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-8255. That's 1-800-534-TALK or 949-8037. Or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. Back with more Talk Today following this very brief disclaimer.
Radio K-Man's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email Talk Today at candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
K-Man's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, we do welcome you to join our conversation at any point in today's show. The number is 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, or if you prefer to send a short WhatsApp, 925-3261. And we're very pleased now to have in studio three young campers from the Darts Mine Inspired Journalism and Media Camp. Welcome to Talk Today.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Laura, if you don't mind, if I can start with you really quickly. Can you give us a...
Because it has no...
If you don't mind, can you give us a bit of a breakdown of what the Journalism and Media Camp is about, how it came about, and where you are right now in the stages of the camp?
Yeah, absolutely. So the media houses in Cayman, all local media, have come together to host this camp. So it's a fantastic opportunity for these students to learn about all there is in journalism.
Sure.
From digital, newspaper, print, broadcast, we're covering all of it. This is day 3.
Yeah.
We have 14 campers from 5 or 6 schools on island. They range in age from 12 to 17. And they all have different interests. Some of them are into video, some of them are into writing, some of them are learning that they like writing more than they thought they did. And some of them may have been intrigued to be here by their parents, but they're having fun.
It's funny, we did a little bit with them yesterday, and we had a poll.
Yeah.
How many volunteered to go to a media camp and how many parents signed them up for the media camp, and there was a little bit of a hands up.
And our hope is that we might sway them to
Absolutely.
have that interest so that they can maybe think about a career.
No, absolutely. I mean, this is the age where you start figuring out social media now, and you start recognizing the world outside of your home and school, and that's where media really comes into play. So
absolutely,
it's a good time to tiptoe into it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Since you started talking first, we're going to start with you, Ethan. I like the little game that gets everyone on their toes.
You know.
So Ethan, tell me a bit about yourself, where do you go to school, and what you think so far of the camp?
I go to Cayman Prep in high school, and my name's Ethan, and I'm 14 years old, going into year 10. I really, really enjoy the camp. Before, I wasn't like necessarily interested in journalism and media, but after like the tours, after, you know,
it can be tough. I mean, it's tough when you have a microphone in front of you and kind of explain what you've seen so far and take your time.
Yeah, it's just, as I said, let me just repeat it.
Go ahead.
That really like it, really enjoy it. I wasn't very interested necessarily, but now I'm starting to gain more interest because there's a lot more platforms than just writing, because that's what I thought about journalism. So that's pretty much it.
And so far you've visited, which other media houses have you visited so far?
Cayman Compass, yes. It was a good experience. Loved going just around the place, you know, learning about the sales, learning about graphics, how the editors work.
Absolutely.
And also just talking in general.
No, absolutely.
Asking questions, contributing, you know.
Good for you. Thank you for sharing. Sophia, same questions to you. Where do you go to school, and what do you think about the camp so far?
I go to St. Ignatius, and I'm 14 years old. My name is Sophia. And about the camp, I think it's really interesting so far because journalism was something I knew about. I wasn't really into it because I had other interests, but I do enjoy video editing, and I'm hoping we get to like do something related to that. And the tours that we've been going on are really fun. Like, for example, right now, this is my first time doing like a talk show, and it's unnerving, but it's fun, I guess.
Good.
And yesterday we went to Cayman Compass, and looking how newspapers were made was really interesting. And the workplace was actually like really cheery and welcoming, and that made me feel happy about it.
The Compass was? No.
Yeah, the people there are actually really cool.
They are. Well, not as cool as us.
You guys are cool too.
Cooler.
Cool. Maybe.
Darn.
Maybe.
Yeah. There's that very awkward silence after that. We're all friends with the media business, so I don't mind throwing my colleagues at the Compass under the bus every so often. Kennedy, same questions to you.
I go to Cayman Prep in high school. I'm going into year 10. I'm 14. And I think that the camp has been great. We've done a lot of stuff. We've learned about how to write more effectively and how to like use a camera, best lighting features and stuff. Also, yesterday when we went to Compass Media, we learned about like how the papers were printed and advertisements in Inside Out magazine, and that was really great. The workplace was just super welcoming, and everybody there was super nice.
That's great. Were they as nice as us? Same question here.
I guess about the same.
About the same. Very, very safe answers. Since we have you live on the radio, you got to be very safe in your answers. So you mentioned video editing, Sophia. What do you like about the video editing? Because you mentioned you do some of it on your own, or is this something you did in camp?
Well, it's something I do on my own usually. I just like putting special effects and transitions. I just find it really cool to just make a video more spazzy, cool looking.
Spazzy or snazzy?
I don't know what the word is.
We'll take out the one.
Oh. Okay.
Is there a preferred app that you use for your video editing?
CapCut, KeyMaster, QCut, Pro.
See, the reason I ask the questions is the media business has changed a lot, especially in the past 10, 15 years. Smartphones have come along. It's changed to over the phone has become a very, very popular way of communicating, which is what media is, right? It's when people want to communicate, they use a media as a platform. And so you visited the Compass, which was traditional print, and they have evolved into an online,
more digital
platforms than you would have found 10 years ago. 10 years ago, everything was in print. Everyone waited for that Friday paper to come out so they could actually see the big stack of everything that was in it. And now everything is or not everything, but a lot is over the phone. Hence my question to you about the apps. So how did you find those apps? How did you get started into doing your own video editing?
Like on YouTube, I found people were using these apps, and I thought that's pretty cool. I should try this as well. And so I used to suck at it, but I've been doing it for a while now. It looks I'm proud of how they turn out.
Great. Good for you. So do you see that being somewhere in your career path in the future, going into this line of media?
It's just like a hobby. It could be an interest I might go like make a career about, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. And as far as, so now moving back to your camp and the Mind Inspire camp, what's on the agenda for the next couple of days of the camp?
Tomorrow we're having a couple more sessions. We have Cayman Marl Road coming in to talk to us about what they do.
Okay.
We'll also have Daphne Ewing Chow from Cayman Loop and
Absolutely.
Forbes. We had Patrick Brendel earlier this week from Cayman Current.
Sure.
And then on Friday, Wendy Ledger from CNS is going to take the kids to the courthouse and find out more about courthouse reporting, which I think they're looking forward to. And then we have, at the culmination of the camp, is a little mini assignment for them to produce their own news report. And they have a choice of a written, a video, and they're going to work on that over the next couple of days.
Great.
And hopefully the Cayman Islands community can see these pieces in the media soon.
No, that's fantastic. We get to see, your work broadcast across the local media as well. It's a nice full circle. So if anybody wants more information on the camp or to get involved in the camp, how can they reach out to you?
They visit our website at mindsinspired.ky.
Okay.
There's a lot of information on there. We hope to run it again, so you can find our contact details and reach out.
Thank you so much, Laura. Ethan, Sophia Kennedy, thank you so much for, having bravery to step on to the airwaves. And
It
first
is
time.
nerve-wracking.
It is.
It's
Are you sweating?
No, I'm not
Are you
sweating.
sweating?
It's just
Are you,
nerve.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, good for you.
I feel nothing.
Yeah, I feel nothing.
I mean, it's scary.
Spoken like a true teenager. Kidding. Thank you so much. Yeah, we do have to go to a commercial break. I hope you enjoy the rest of the camp and all the best with your final pieces.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more talk today right after this.
Freedom, Cayman Rack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
The HSA Specialist Clinic has relocated to a new, modern, state-of-the-art facility at Smith Road Center to offer you a better patient experience. Receive care from top specialists in chiropractic, complementary and alternative medicine, neurology, ENT, urology, pain management, and more. Our orthopedic and telemedicine clinics remain at the Cayman Islands Hospital campus. Please remember to bring your own face mask when visiting any HSA location. Visit our website, hsa.ky, to learn more. At the HSA, you matter to us.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Census 2021. Come on, get ready. Census starting 10th of October 2021. Census rockers will be counted. Little Cayman we coming. People get ready. Census 2021. Information is secret. 2021 census starting October 10th. 2021 census. 2021 census.
2021 Census. Everyone counts.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We do invite all of our listeners out there in Radio K-Man Nation to join in our show today. The number is 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. We don't have any other guests lined up today, so it is open line for the rest of the day. We just had in studio our 3 campers from the Darts Mind-Inspired Program, Journalism and Media Camp. Great to always interview teens and college students who are in the pursuing any kind of career path, but they have some kind of idea of where they want to go, and they're happy to explore the different realms of, in this case, it was media, and having them come on to the radio show and have a taste for it. They're actually exploring the whole station today, from our sales room to our newsroom to our on-air capacities as well. Quite a number of topics out there, though, in the media landscape today. The big one in a lot of people's minds is the current Phase 2 border reopening plan, which I'll get to in just a moment. There's also the new policies from the Department of Environmental Health on regards to derelict vehicles, scrap metals, and their disposal policies in an attempt to assist with preventing the fires at the landfill site. The Family Resource Center has laid out a number of their programs for August to December, which we will read out in a little while. And a number of the FRC programs are quite solid programs, helping with the young families, helping with parenting, with education to some degree from the home model. A little later in the show, we'll be touching upon the beach erosion topic as another big topic which has hit our airwaves. And we've seen the Honorable Premier and his team working on several different stages of plans, from their short-term, long-term, medium-term, and longer-term strategies, and how they're planning to combat the beach erosion problem, and hoping to have a very popular guest on Radio Command join us for a bit of that topic later. They have about 80 years of experience having seen the 7 Mile Beach shoreline and the changes over the course of those 8 decades. So hoping to have their first-hand perspective join our show a little later. And then the other big topic, which we've seen come out very recently, was the Consumer Price Index. This one has been caught with the deer in the headlights for many people. We've seen the CPI has seen a 1% reduction, whereas we've also heard a number of times on our show and our airwaves in the morning is that a lot of families are still struggling with keeping up with the financial bills month to month, and to hear that the CPI has dropped 1%. We would like to hear your views, how that's affecting you, and what you think we can do about that, whether it's to help reduce our cost of goods sold, whether it's to increase our revenues at home. Again, 1-800-534-8255. Jumping into the Phase 2 reopening plan, I was going to read out the press release which was issued by Government Information Services yesterday. Government has moved into a Phase 2 of its reopening plan as of Monday, August 9th. The new phase allows travelers whose vaccinations have been securely verified to quarantine for 5 days without a GPS monitoring device. Noting that this change applies only to travelers arriving in the Cayman Islands from August 9th onwards, Health Minister, the Honorable Sabrina Turner, emphasizes that quarantine remains mandatory for all vaccinated and unvaccinated arrivals. While vaccination reduces the chances of infection and transmission and offers the best possible protection against severe disease and death, it is still possible for vaccinated travelers to transmit the COVID-19 virus, Ms. Turner explained. Deputy Governor, the Honorable Franz Manderson, says that Travel Cayman, which is responsible for inward travel, is responding to the change by implementing strategies that ensures persons remain in compliance with quarantine protocols. These include initiating daily contact with persons who securely verified vaccinations qualify them to quarantine for 5 days without GPS monitoring. Physical welfare checks have also increased, and the Travel Cayman team is applying strategies to facilitate the ready identification of travelers that fall within this category. Individuals quarantining without GPS technology must follow all other prescribed quarantine protocols, including remaining in their residence for the duration of the quarantine period and receiving no visitors. Contactless supply deliveries are another important requirement. Unvaccinated travelers are still required to complete 14 days of quarantine, while those whose vaccinations cannot be verified must complete 10 days. Both of these groups will still wear GPS technology. The use of GPS technology has greatly assisted the continuous monitoring of persons in quarantine, Mr. Madison observed, but it is notable that Travel Cayman identifies most breaches as a result of checks by its mobile compliance team, as well as the reporting of suspected breaches by the public. Anyone who suspects an individual has breached quarantine can make a report to the Quarantine Tip Hotline at 943-7233. Any person found guilty of breaching quarantine is liable upon conviction to a maximum fine of $10,000 and up to 2 years imprisonment. Premier the Honorable Wayne Panton emphasizes that the reopening plan, which is slowly rolling back requirements for inward travel over the remainder of 2021, is essential to safely restarting the economy. As restrictions are reduced, Mr. Panton said the likelihood of the COVID-19 disease re-entering the Cayman Islands community will increase. He comments that the COVID-19 vaccine offers the best protection against the risk that the deadly disease poses to Caymanians and residents of all ages. Practicing COVID-19 prevention protocols, including hand washing, mask wearing, and social distancing, if vulnerable, are among the ways that members of the public can protect themselves, their loved ones, and the wider community. Mr. Panton added the government, with the support of public health officials and the civil service, has put a tremendous amount of planning and preparation into ensuring that we can successfully move through each phase of the plan, which is so important to the economic health of our country. Our goal, led by science, is to guarantee minimal risk to the community, and we are continuously reviewing and upgrading our processes with this in mind. My sincerest thanks to the board for everything that they have done to date, Mr. Panton stated. Minister of Tourism and Transport, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, says, I am pleased that the reopening plan is progressing to Phase 2, and I look forward to the next phase when we start the limited introduction of tourism. From its creation in 2020, some months into the COVID-19 pandemic, to August 1st, 2021, Travel Cayman has helped over 21,579 travelers with connections to the Cayman Islands to enter the country for essential reasons. For more on the reopening plan and general information about the fight against the coronavirus in the Cayman Islands, visit www.explorergov.ky/coronavirus. A very lengthy press release, but it did lay out the spread amongst Phase 2 of the reopening plan. If you visit the website, explorergov.ky/reopening plan, they have actually laid out each of the 5 stages of the reopening plan. I believe, if I've read correctly, Step 3 is planned for September 9th, 2021, so roughly a month from now, subject to the achievement of an 80% vaccination rate. The limited introduction of tourism during slow season with some restrictions, including a flight slot management system, allows the CI government to manage the number of persons arriving. This also allows the CI government and the tourism industry to develop capacity for dealing with larger volumes of travelers in preparation for high season. And if you actually were to go through the website, and I got to give the group who've organized the website a lot of credit, because it's quite well laid out and organized in a manner that gives us very easy access to the information we need. And again, that's explorergov.ky/reopening-plan. On that note, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we invite our callers to join us, 1-800-534-8255.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For the first time in over 45 years, the University College of the Cayman Islands is having an alumni homecoming gala dinner on October 28th. The event highlights the kickoff of the UCCI Alumni Network, a community of professionals helping the university and one another. If you're a UCCI graduate, join the network today and let your fellow classmates know about it. Visit ucci.edu.ky/alumni and come give us a hand with UCCI's first ever homecoming. We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
When I was growing up in Cayman, Sundays was always a big day for our family. Everyone would go to Granny's house for Sunday dinner after church. Even today, I can still smell the aroma of all the delicious food we used to eat, especially the hot, fresh baked bread smothered in butter, topped off with our favorite pan cheese. These days, I don't have enough time to cook and bake, but I do my best to carry on the Sunday tradition of family meals. And being able to get hot, fresh bread with no preservatives or additives from Caribbean Bakery is a big help for me. Shh, don't tell them, they still think I baked it. Caribbean Bakery, now delivering every Sunday to my Grass grocery store in Eastern Avenue and Marina Drive. Caribbean Bakery, made Cayman fresh.
That thing we've been saying for 64 years? Ignore it. Eat the KFC wings, drink the KFC gravy, fill up on fries. Just please forget the thing we normally suggest. You know, that thing you used to do with your tongue after finishing a delicious piece of our KFC chicken. We get it. It's not easy. There's a reason why it's been our slogan for over half a century. But the world's drastically changed of late, and as soon as we can embrace the change, the sooner we can all get back to doing what we do best. KFC. It's good.
The story of the new NOCO can be heard in a repeat broadcast Thursday at 7 p.m. on Radio Cayman. The new NOCO's disappearance, a Cayman Islands maritime mystery. The new NOCO's story. Brought to you by
Thompson Shipping, a name synonymous with cargo and goods to and from the Cayman Islands. Let Thompson Shipping take care of your shipping needs. Thompson Shipping, 949-8044.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We have open line for the rest of the show with several big topics out there in the community right now. If you'd like to join our conversation or have any comments on any of these topics, the number is 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp us at 925-3261. We do have one caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Is this Mr. Singh?
It is. Thank you.
I'd like to tell you or to speak about an issue that seems unbelievable sometimes to certain people. You know, there are people who were very poor and they became very wealthy.
Yes, sir.
And there are times when some people would tell you, I was a very wealthy man and I have nothing today. Is it believable? Is it possible? I mean, what do you think?
As far as people going from wealthy to poor, I think it's a story that happens quite often. People tend to fade away from the limelight, but you see quite a number of stories where people have lost their wealth, whether through overspending. You see a number of professional athletes who have gone through the NBA and the NFL who have made tremendous amounts of money, but never acquired the skill sets on how to save and properly invest their funds, and very shortly after their retirement from professional sports lose most, if not all, of their wealth. And then you see the from paupers to riches stories, where you see a number of individuals who have come from economically disadvantaged backgrounds and then have built themselves empires, quite frankly. What are your views on that?
I'm telling you, I've learned quite a few lessons from my well admired role models. I wouldn't want to say too much more than that, but
Sure.
I have learned from quite a few people. I was always willing to listen and to learn, as I did back in school.
Good for you.
I tried to respect. I tried my best to learn all that I could from my teachers, and I'm well pleased, to be quite honest, with what have developed, or
Sure.
the results. Yeah, the results from being a good listener, a willing learner, maybe.
What are some of the lessons that you learned from your mentors that have guided you on your journey? Now it's time for you to pass on and share the wealth of information you've acquired.
Well, there's one person that I can remember who said to me, spoke about, well, I've heard it more than once, wealth of knowledge. You've heard about spiritual wealth. I wouldn't want to say too much more than that, but there are certain formulas that have been proven to be, should I say, success formulas. Great formulas for succeeding and whatever you may choose to put your hands on.
Do you mean like economics as well as, say, family or parenting?
Yeah, it's all that good stuff. You just have to be willing to learn. There are a lot of teachers out there. People can teach how to be a successful person in this way, that way, the other way, etc. And we just have to believe that it is possible, and take steps to do what we should be doing.
So So the question I have is, if you were talking to a 16-year-old student at John Gray High School about to go into grade 11 at John Gray High School, is there anything you would suggest that they do not do?
I would, well, that is, I wouldn't say it's the most difficult question, but just don't put your fingers in your ears. You listen to the teacher, you be very attentive, you have respect for the teacher, and you document the necessary information in order for you to achieve high grades. You have to be attentive, and that sort of thing. So I've watched I've watched quite a few people really achieve, and it was so in my view amazing to see that growth. I've seen a lot of people here in Cayman, other places around the world, achieve, and it's really inspiring in my view. It is a great thing to see that development and success in those different ways.
No, absolutely. You're right. You mentioned the point about learning from your mentors, and I remember this great quote that I had heard one time is, you can make the mistake yourself, or you can learn from other people's mistakes. And not every mistake do you have to make yourself in order to learn the lesson. And it's a lot cheaper if you don't learn the lesson on your own.
Oh, it sure is.
And that's where mentors come in, right? Because they've experienced it. They've gone through the life experiences to a certain degree. And it doesn't mean not to take your own risks and to make your own decisions in life. It just means that you don't need to run in front of the car to recognize that crossing the road with cars coming across is not the wisest of choices. You can learn from someone else who made that mistake.
That's right.
So it's but thank you. I appreciate that. And how old were you when you roughly realized how influential the mentors in your life were? Do you remember what age you were at? Without giving too much away about where you are currently.
Well, to put it most frank, I'd say that different points in my life, different times, I've learned a whole lot at different stages in my life. There's still a lot of things that people would never imagine that I have learned or can do. Thanks to my teachers, it's quite a few different things, but
sure.
I don't have to show, why. I mean, it's not always necessary to demonstrate what is possible.
No, it's true.
Not always necessary, but I admire a lot of those good people. It's good to see that successful sort of way being demonstrated.
Sure.
If well, I guess you comprehend what I'm saying.
No, I told you I appreciate the direction you're coming from. It's I like to consider myself an avid learner and like to learn new things and continuously keep learning. At my age now, and when I'm 90, I still want to be learning new things, and I think it keeps you young to keep on learning.
What I'd like to see though is because I started working at a very young age, very young, and what I'd like to see is little ones being able to give them a task and say, well, okay, I'll give you this task. You have this skill. I'll give you 2 years, and your objective is to achieve, say, $1 million. The little child could be an artist. The child could be whatever skilled type of kid. And I mean, who wouldn't support a little child? Who wouldn't want to buy art from a little kid? And he may pass that 2 million mark faster than you'd ever imagine. I would say
you're absolutely right. There is
I mean, is it? Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right. If you don't put we as adults know how big $1 million is and how hard that goal is, but a child doesn't realize that. So to them, it's just, okay, I'll go and I'll do it. And I like that idea. I like the idea, whether you put a dollar value in it or somehow, but I like the idea of being able to give a young person the opportunity to achieve the mountain, because they don't have to realize how challenging that is. They just have to go and do it.
Yeah, that's right.
That's caller. Thank you so much, and hopefully you're able to pass along some of that knowledge to that you've acquired and mentor some young Kamangans along the way.
Sure, sir.
Thank you so much for calling in today.
Have a great day, sir.
You too. On that note, we are going to go to our 1 p.m. headline news, and when we come back, we hope to tackle the topic of beach erosion, especially along the 7 Mile Beach corridor. Back with more talk today, right after this.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. The Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing advises the public that all its offices will be closed on Thursday, August 12th to facilitate a staff meeting and training workshop. All offices of DVDL will resume business as usual on Friday, August 13th. In international news, Google employees in the U.S. who opt to work from home permanently may get a pay cut. The technology giant has developed a pay calculator that lets employees see the effects of working remotely or moving offices. Some remote employees, especially those with a long commute, could have their pay cut without changing address. A millionaire politician in Russia's Far East has admitted killing a man he says he mistook for a brown bear. Igor Redkin said in a statement to Russian media that he had heard there was a bear at the rubbish dump in the village of Ozernovsky. Wanting to scare the animal away, he fired his gun, but later learned that a local resident was wounded in the area at about the same time. The 30-year-old man who was shot later died in hospital. A criminal case was opened last week. Wildfires tearing through northern Algeria have now killed at least 65 people, including 28 soldiers deployed to help the firefighters. The blazes in the mountainous region are some of the worst in the country's history. Officials have blamed arson for many of them. The president has declared 3 days of national mourning for the victims. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Again, we have open line throughout the rest of the show. We will have a bit of a conversation here in a little while about the beach erosion and the government's current plans, or their current strategy they're working on to address the beach erosion along the 7 Mile Beach corridor. And we saw the recent release in regards to the Honorable Premier and his team and the work they've been, and their recent site visit to, I believe it was the Marriott Hotel, and the erosion that they have seen along their beachfront. Again, the number is 1-800-534-8255 if you wish to join our conversation, or 949-8037, or if you prefer to just send us a quick WhatsApp, 925-3261. Before we tackle the conversation on beach erosion, a couple updates from the Department of Environmental Health, and this is in regards to the discarding of derelict vehicles and equipment at the Georgetown landfill. No surprise to anybody in Cayman that we've had or this should not be news to anybody in Cayman, that we've heard the dump fires that we've had over the past couple of years. I remember the big fire from earlier in 2020, before we had a lockdown and everything else that had happened. But the DEH has issued a new series of policies in a proactive effort to help reduce the risk of fire at the Georgetown landfill. So quickly, I'm going to read through some of the changes that they are putting in place. Number one, with regards to derelict vehicles such as cars and small trucks or trailers, they should be sent over separate from any other waste, and more importantly, should not have any other waste stored inside of them. That means they're not meant to be storage vehicles for trash that you're dumping off at the dump. They should be separated, all trash cleaned out of them. No containers with materials classified as flammable should be stored in the vehicles, and the batteries should be removed. Light scrap metal should be sorted prior to arrival on site and shall be free of any wood, plastic, or any other wastes, contamination, or anything that could reasonably be seen to catch on fire. For any large, oversized metallic objects such as vehicles, equipment, or structures, for example, heavy construction equipment, shipping containers, storage tanks, steel beams, these should be cut down to dimensions of no larger than 5 feet by 3 feet. And then all the vehicles should be drained of all fuels, lubricating fluids, and any other flammable fluids and gases that may be present in all items of the motorized equipment, large and small, which contain a combustible engine, with or without fuel tank, including but not limited to large and small heavy equipment such as excavators, bobcats, cranes, and dump trucks, small motorized tools such as chainsaws, weed whackers, lawnmowers, and cement mixers, and all boats and personal watercraft, generators, fuel tanks, and fuel buns. White goods and other electrical items should be separated from all the materials. Batteries should be separated and disposed of at the landfill. You can drop off for all types. For small batteries, these are accepted at all supermarkets. And gas bottles of any type should be made safe by removal of the headworks and safe release of the gas by other means, and then separated from other materials. And again, you can visit DEH website at deh.gov.ky to help do your part. If you are using the landfill to discard of vehicles, derelict vehicles, large equipment, etc., do the responsible bit and make sure that all the flammable materials have been taken out. There's no garbage inside of it. Yes, it might be the Georgetown landfill, but that doesn't mean we just dump it off and out of sight, out of mind. It becomes everybody's problem if that car catches on fire at some later date. So again, that website is deh.gov.ky if you want to see all the new policies in regards to discarding of derelict vehicles and scrap metals. Now jumping to the next big part of the this week's headline conversation with the beach erosion. I mentioned we would have a surprise but popular guest on Talk Today who's been exploring the 7 Mile Beach corridor for no less than 8 decades. Welcome to Talk Today, Mr. Banks.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. You've seen
the
beaches before the hotels.
Yeah. Yeah, no hotel along the beach when I was swimming in my birthday suit along there.
No, there wasn't. So now, what part of 7 Mile Beach did you grow up on?
I grew up right at the end of 7 Mile Beach, right on what's known as Henning Beach in West Bay.
Yes.
Right where the beach meets the Iron Shore.
Meets the Iron Shore.
Yeah. In fact, our backyard was partly Iron Shore and partly beach.
Sure. So 8 decades, seeing the changes along that corridor. When you first started seeing the changes back in the day, back in the 60s, 50s, when the buildings started going up along the beachfront, what were your thoughts back then?
Well, there's always been changes along 7 Mile Beach. You can go back 180 years,
sure.
I guess,
sure.
300 years. Because there is a natural nature, built to 7 Mile Beach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, there is.
Nature maintains it. And that's what's been happening for time immemorial. And I would say that the changes, significant changes, started probably, I believe, in the I'm trying to think now of a property that first went in there, and it was probably in the mid 80s.
Mid-80s, okay.
Yeah, because before that there was only small properties along the West Bay Beach,
Sure.
And to their, I guess, to their credit, they seem to have given it some thought as to what they were up against, even though I think at times it surprised some of them because of the changes that would happen.
Even with their smaller buildings?
Yeah.
Now, were they set back further back then?
I think they were. I think they were set back further.
Okay. Mainly like one-story homes?
Yeah, one-story home. And some of them, there might have been a few 2 stories, but most of them was 1 story.
Sure.
And Mitch Miller had there were actually 3 homes in that kind of complex, 3 or 2 homes, what they call Mitch Miller's, where they bought in property down there. And when they built, they sort of maintained a good distance between, but they were quite surprised when some heavy weather came in and saw what had happened. And
I mean, as far as like beach roading away.
Yeah. Like
even
I said,
with their smaller dwellings, like it would still have that major effect on them.
Well, yeah, there's a dynamic flow of currents and winds, and what's called the bite, basically, generally, from, if you looked out to the south, you see Northwest Point. You look to the right is Northwest Point, to the left is Southwest Point. So there's all kinds of dynamics that happen in there. And I think what has happened is that they've disturbed these dynamics.
The development.
Yeah. Okay. And so the product is what you see today.
Was it the volume of development? Was it the setback? Was it the change in winds because of the height of the buildings? What are we actually?
Well,
a combination of all of them.
You could say there was a combination of all those things, but I think basically it was the setbacks that they started infringing on, and that's you can. There are places along that vista, I call, between Northwest Point and Southwest Point, mainly on the Iron Shore. You can look and see where there have been little walls built, right?
On the Iron Shore.
On the Iron Shore. Not right at the edge of the surf, but maybe by 3 or 4 feet, on the Iron Shore.
Absolutely.
And if you look at that Iron Shore there and compare it to what might be the natural, which is right next to it, you'll see that over the years that Iron Shore has worn down.
Just in the man-made time that those walls went up.
Yes. The wash, we call it backwash.
Sure, the backwash.
Coming back and forth.
Heads back down.
And unless you've experienced it, you really don't have much idea of what that backwash can do.
And it's the sheer force of that backlash. It's the force of it. It's the repetitiveness of the backlash.
Yes.
And it's a man-made erosion that happens because of that wall going up.
Yeah. And, you get, there's times that I've seen, 15-foot waves, 20-foot waves coming in along that beach. And you get that force now hitting against another blunt force. Just think of the washback that goes out. And when it's on sand, it takes the sand out with it.
The sand goes with it.
No? I mean, it's a simple common sense.
Sure. I mean, it definitely sounds like there's a lot of logic involved in there. And I empathize with the current government's challenge that they have to face, because they're not dealing with a problem that was made yesterday. They're dealing with a problem that's been made over the course of quite a number of decades.
I'd say from the 80s. You say the 80s.
Now, you mentioned there was a big development that started the kind of trend towards the larger developments in the 80s. Do you know which development? Was it just like one of the condos that had gone up, or?
Well, I think it was when one of the first big hotels came in.
Okay, fair enough.
Because the Holiday Inn, I guess, was built in the maybe mid '60s. I think could be. I can't remember all these dates. Years go by, but there was not hardly any beach erosion when the Holiday Inn was built. Now, there was some, but there was not the extent that you might see at that property now. Where the Holiday Inn was at.
So was the reason for it happening after the Holiday Inn was the progressive development further down the beach?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it is.
Okay, so I'm trying to wrap my head around the context. I have a few more questions, but let's go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll tackle those questions.
Yeah.
Back with more talk today, right after this.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
James William Algernon Ryan, JP, 1913 to 2007. Mr. Algie Ryan served for 17 years as head teacher in Cayman Brac. He also had a night school and taught commercial subjects, including typing and accounting. He later became a realtor, an attorney, and an insurance agent. He is today the longest-serving realtor in the Cayman Islands. He operated a weekly boat service between Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, transporting mail, cargo, and passengers. Later, he was a director of Little Cayman Enterprises, the company that developed the Southern Cross Club, the first guest facility on Little Cayman. In the early 1960s, he leased land and oversaw the construction of the Edward Bodden Airfield in Little Cayman, which is still in use today. He served for a time in the Legislative Assembly as a nominated member.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh. Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands. If traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
2021, the year of the Cayman Islands seafarer or seafarers, the heart of the Cayman Islands maritime heritage. And occupying a great mystery within that heritage is the New Noka's story. You can hear about it in a repeat broadcast Thursday at 7 p.m. on Radio Cayman, being brought to you by MJS Plumbing. Call MJS at 916-4549 for all of your plumbing needs. They can handle it all. MJS Plumbing.
Listen to the general public. Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne E. Banks. Again, we have Mr. Banks in studio discussing the topic of beach erosion along our 7-mile beach corridor. If you'd like to join our conversation, the number is 1-800-534-8255. And we're very pleased now to also be joined on the line from another beach explorer who has several decades of experience, Mr. Kem Jackson on the line. Mr. Jackson, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Good afternoon. Pleasure joining you.
So, Mr. Jackson, we were discussing the beach erosion along 7 Mile Beach and when the signs of it started with development over the decades. Can you shed some light on your experiences of?
Yeah. In my experience, I worked with the university for years, surveying and doing everything with the beaches and the water around here, the depth of the waters and everything else. And we started from the North Sound, and we took samples of the cores. And if I go through what I know, it'll be all day. So let's start with the beach.
Sure.
The beach used to go to South Sound. No mistake about that, because we done it. And while it was going, it was turning over and over. It was like having something in a tumbler. You know what a tumbler is?
Yes, sir.
And it would go and it would leave any little thing that the beach had in it, it would leave on the way. You know, like wood or big stones or anything against it would fall out. Then it would go to South Sound. And just north of the public beach, or a little further down. Anyway, it was by Mr. Mitchell House, which was a very rich man, and he had a yacht there. And the current from the south would meet with the current from the north, which was 7 Mile Beach. Then it would form like a road, high road, and would almost go out to the quay, the Barker's Quay, the South Sound Quay. Then what would happen? Now, we never got into when it would start or when it would leave. They was only interested in knowing what's going on. And what happened now, Mr. Norberg built some cottages up there, which is still there, beautiful places. And he, out in front, next to the sea, with a lot of coconut trees, and it was a beautiful beach, big beach, big wide beach. And that used to stay right there. Now, they went and they got a crane and a barge and they dug this South Sound Channel deeper. And Dr. Robert said to me, he said, you know, I got to leave with this program, with this batch of people, and I'll be back next year. Because we used to do it like 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever to bring in. It was refresher courses for the university, what it was. And he said, if you know anybody here that got it, like this man here, he didn't know who it was. We got this beautiful condos and stuff. Tell him he better get a wall right up against his building. Now he wanted it right against his building, so it didn't destroy his building. He didn't want it out to stop it from coming up, because he knew what was going to happen. And he said, tell him that sand is going to go back in the canal or the channel. It was a channel in the reef, but it was shallow. And lo and behold, 2 months after he told me that, it happened. The coconut trees went, everything went, and the canal filled up. The
channel.
The channel filled up with all the sand coming off the beach. So now, where was that? That was on the South Sound.
On the other side of Southwest Point, really.
Okay.
In the South Sound area.
Yes.
Yeah, right there. I guess there's a big old building,
Yeah, it's
a lot of big buildings.
Yeah.
And this would come back again. We never said 2 hours or 10 hours they would start. No given time we studied that. And back it comes on the beach, just like it left. One thing, all the little pieces of trash and stuff was gone. Now, the sun would take over, and that's when it got white, real white, because all the other trash was gone out of it. There's people fishing in and anything.
Sure.
But it wasn't no big amount. It was a very little that water. Now, the sand from Venice going, it would come out, and it would go pretty close to the shore, and it would go to south. It would go past the dock, but the dock had a bridge on it, and that bridge was put there for a reason.
South Sound Dock.
The South Sound Dock.
No, the Georgetown Dock.
Oh.
It was put there for a reason. I was told, because I'd done the underwater work on the dock, and they put that there for 2 reasons. Because the sand went under that, real close to it, and some went offshore. A couple of, I would say 50, 60, 70 feet. And it all went together to South Sound. It would be just outside the Eden Rocks, and then it would go up and turn and go South Sound. This was a common thing for this to do. Because Mr. Mitchell had a yacht, and his yacht was tied. He had a dock, and it was tied up right on the beach, right in the beach in South Sound now. And his house was right there. And when he would go out fishing in, if he was to go on the bank, when he come in, and this thing is taking place, he would have the anchor off. So that tell you how much it was. It was I guess, a couple of 100 feet long, and it was very high. But it would be a beautiful thing. I mean, if somebody would do it on land, you would say, "Boy, that took a lot of work." But it didn't take long for them currents and nature to do what it done. And when what happened now, I'll tell you just like he showed us. You take a bottle. Let's take a quart bottle. A clear quart bottle that you can see in it.
Sure.
And you put very little sand. Just 2 inches of sand. And you put 4 inches of water over the sand, and you hold it. This is exactly what the university, Dr. Roberts, showed his people. And you move it left, right, and the water would take the sand up, and the water would bring the sand out. And just straighten it out. Bring it up, straighten it out. Bring it up, straight out. Now, he says, watch what would happen now. I don't know why he said a wall, but that's why he said, because there was no wall when we were doing this. He said if there was to put a wall, here's what would happen. And he would take and lean it to the end, and he would just woof the other way, and it would hit the bottom of the bottle, and there goes the sand up in the end. he said that's what would happen. It would hit the wall at a good force, and the sand is gone.
The sand's gone.
So,
It's just what we were talking about just
No, absolutely respect.
a bit earlier. It's
this was the thing that he teached all of his people from the university, and of course he wasn't teaching me because I was doing this thing all the time, and I caught on real quick. I knew exactly what was happening, and he said that the dock is. He came here while they was working on the dock, and he said this is the good idea, because he said part of the sand goes under this dock. Anyway, and he said, you know, if you get real bad weather, the sea comes in under the dock. Let's call it a bridge.
Sure.
Under here, the sea will come in, and it'll go up to the land, and when it's coming back out, it will go the same way under the bridge. But now, somebody, I don't know who it was, plugged the dock up. I told them don't do it. Captain Shelby told them don't do it. And on, people told them not to do it. Now, they had a little diameter, they call it. They say it come from Cuba, but it wasn't any big thing. And when the sea came in there then, it had to go back out through the same way. So it only got bigger.
Sure.
And then it went, I wasn't there, but they said it went up to the post office, I don't know. And this was nothing. So what we're doing, they're fooling with nature, you know. They should never do things like that. I mean, they needed a dock, and it was working fine for many years.
And they block it off.
Blocked it off.
Sure. Mr. Jackson, we do have to... Mr. Jackson, we do have to go to a quick commercial break, and we have one caller on the line who would like to make a comment as well. Can I just ask you to stay on the line? We'll be back with more Talk Today right after this.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Summer, the season for backyard gatherings, beach parties, office socials, and camps for kids. Make the most of your summer party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters or double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go, with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your summer with Subway. Visit Subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Look at you, listening to the radio, tuning in, getting stuff done. Total doer. Maybe you're driving, maybe you're getting your oil changed, or grabbing some chicken. Maybe you're doing something that's nobody's business but yours. Hey, that's cool. We're all doing something. Now you can join a whole new community of doers doing more on findyellow.com. With custom search, local experts, and trusted reviews, whatever you're doing, get it done on findyellow.com.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings at candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know you must ensure all utensils are washed with detergent and rinsed with hot water if they make contact with flood water? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. If you have any comments or questions, like to join our conversation, the number is 1-800-534-8255. I'm pleased to have in studio Mr. Loxley Banks, and on the line, Mr. Cam Jackson. And we've been discussing the beach erosion situation. Not a problem that was started today or yesterday, but a problem that has been a built-upon situation over several decades of really a lot of development that has gone up along 7 Mile Beach and the South Sound stretch, as well as I've just learned in regards to the erosion that happened along the South Sound corridor, thanks to Mr. Jackson just now. Now, we do have one caller on the line, or a second caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today. Hello, caller. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Mr. Banks. Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
And just to start off here, with how my mind works. As far as I'm concerned, the gentlemen have lived this story, and it is nobody more important or better suited to tell this story, I believe, than these exact two gentlemen. But measures based upon what you are saying about the sand movement from north to south on an annual basis, with the how do you two gentlemen foresee the issue of the movement of our sands going north to south with the development of that spin project there on the Iron Shore in South Sound? That's my question.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Banks, the question, and Mr. Jackson, is there's the Finn development, the new big development on South Sound. How do you feel that development is going to affect the north to south movement of the sand?
If the sand goes, hits the building, hits the wall, that's what's going to happen. They're going to lose the beach.
Well,
I mean, it might be northwest account, but once the sand hits the wall, it's gone.
It is gone. Now, there's not much sand up along that stretch.
I'm not sure. I have not seen the seaside of the project that was mentioned.
Me neither.
But knowing that is on the other side of what we call Southwest Point, sure. I believe, if I'm right, I think. Yeah. Certainly, if they've done anything back there that would infringe on the natural flow of tides and the seas and all this, it'll have an effect on it. It will really affect it.
Anything you do, and Loxley, let me tell you now. Shouldn't say this, but
be careful.
I know some things that will help. Eh? Now, I don't know. Let's start with this. I know some things that will help very much, and like the president told Gorbachev, Mr. Gorbachev, tear these walls down.
We're throwing a lot of history into this conversation, and we've gone back to the Cold War.
Yeah, no. Take the walls down, and that sand will come back. There's no mistake about that.
Yeah,
I'm not telling you now it's coming back to where it was, but it will come back.
You know, that feeds to what you were saying during the break earlier, Mr. Banks.
Yes.
Let's start from West Bay now and come up past the West Bay Cemetery. There's one house right close there. Let's forget about that house. After you pass that house, and you walk up there, and you'll see the beach is an ordinary beach. So you get up there where the big wall starts, and the beach is gone.
So the solution long term is, from Mr. Jackson, what you're saying is the walls do have to come down in order to bring the sand back.
Yeah.
Now, we do have another call on the line. If we could just take this caller really quickly. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, caller.
Yes, calling back just to see. I think something was done out there to the sea floor because I first saw information about this fin project or fin development in the local newspaper, and it was a big controversy about, all of the sediment going out for miles and miles and all kinds of stuff. So I think that has already been disturbed, and based upon that, I guess I didn't explain myself well enough. Based upon all of that disturbance and the traveling of the sediment, etc., my mind is always asking me to find out what's going to happen, in real bad weather and with the passage of time.
Well, I think very few people really, I think, comprehend the force of waves coming in, hitting iron shore, hitting the beach, hitting whatever, and if they don't have the correct level of comprehension, I think it could be very bad for them, and I think that's part of what the problem has been, or problem is currently, and has been for years, that they really don't understand the force of those waves coming in, and you could take probably a 4-foot wave coming in on that beach, and if you felt that, which I've experienced it a lot, and you multiply that hundreds of times, and you've got a big bang coming.
It's true. I mean, that's what erosion is, right? It's that perpetual, just constant wave that hits it and hits it and hits it.
And tides affected, high tide, low tide, and it's all dynamics. And when you start infringing on those dynamics, then you can expect change, and it could be very adverse changes.
Mr. Banks, early in the show, one of the breaks, we have discussed the Miami situation, where Miami was dredging sand off their beaches. They had built their walls, and in many ways, much of the recent development has really emulated a lot of what the construction was in South Florida.
I seen that happen in Miami during the 60s. There was the Fontainebleau Hotel, which is still, I guess, one of the 10-star hotels on the beach. When that was built back in the late 50s, early 60s,
absolutely,
they had the idea. Well, to begin with, I think they put their pool deck and all that stuff too close to the water, and they decided, well, we'll put a wall. Well, the wall didn't help. They built big concrete structures, like what used to be in the Cracker Jack box. You call them jacks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they built big concrete structures in that shape. Put out there, it didn't help. Then they decided, no, the first wall they built was what you'd call a parallel wall to the beach. Then they said, well, we'll put out some
diagonal,
perpendicular or whatever.
Yep.
It didn't help. And I think the final solution that they came up with was to put a dredge offshore, a mile and a half offshore out there in the Gulf Stream, and keep pumping resources in.
Bring the sand back in.
Yeah. Because the Fontainebleau Hotel, which actually right next door to him was the Eden Rock, yeah. They all had, same kind of ideas of getting as close to the water as they could. And
sure. That's it. Mr. Jackson.
Go ahead. As I was down in West Bay now, the wall was put there. I believe it was put there with good intention. I mean, it wasn't put there for sit on it or anything. It was put there to help. But what happened now, it got so bad because a building was right next to the end of the wall. And that's a 90-degree thing right there, and everything comes in there, and then that gushes in there, that big sea, it carries the sand away. And you can go out there now, the left of it now, the ledges, that's hard sand. It's not rock, it's just hard sand. You could go out there and between the ledges and the shore, you could catch fish between the walls. And another thing, they put the wall with good intention, and over the years, minor in West Bay now, the road was the height of the road of wall, the road stayed there, but the sand was the height of the road. You could step over the wall and step on sand. But over the years, they just got it away, and now I have no suggestion. I have no idea what to do, because I'll tell you one thing that I learned. There are 1,000 things. No other sand going to mix with that 7 Mile Beach sand. Just to bring an example to you, when Mr. Dog got sand, I don't know where he bought it from. It was good sand, but it was brown. And I said to myself, well, I'm going to watch this now. We're going to start this. And I seen he put it away from the beach now, though, He put it way up. And I watched it, and I seen it disappearing. I said, well, what in the world happened? And you go there now, and if you can show me a bit of sand that he brought in, I'll eat it. It's gone. And what happened, let's say if you was to go in the swamp, or whatever you want to call it, and you got a lot of mud, and you put sand, marl on a lot of mud, or whatever you want to call it, and whichever one is the most, they're going to disappear. I mean, I meant that right here in Cayman with the university. And he showed me that, and I could not believe it. It just disappeared, gone.
It just doesn't mix at all.
Huh?
It just does not mix at all, those two sands.
Does not mix at all. And you see, now mine is more muddy than Mars. The Mars only disappeared.
Nope, that's true. Mr. Jackson, we do have to go to another commercial break. If I can ask you to stay on the line with us. I'll be back with more talk today right after this.
a caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
3T Cayman MRI is the patient-friendly MRI experience in the Cayman Islands. With the most advanced scanner on island, utilizing cutting-edge technology, and a team of highly trained radiologists and technologists with the experience that rivals any clinic in the world. Our suite is designed for patient comfort, with the largest patient opening of any scanner, and additional features to minimize anxiety during your scan. Come to 3T Cayman MRI for your patient-friendly experience. Learn more at 3tcayman.com.
Start your engines for Rotary Central's first Gumball Rally. Saturday, August the 21st. Rotary Central's newest initiative, raising funds for community mental health projects. It's the Gumball Rally. Follow the clues to a secret destination where we will be laying on food, music, raffles and prizes for different categories. This is a fun event and not a race. Registration starts at Cricket Square on Elgin Avenue at 11:30 or pre-register ahead of time through Rotary Central Facebook page or contact 928-3869 for further details. You can also check out the What's On in Cayman app on your smartphones. $100 entry fee per car for up to 4 people. We already have teams signed up, but we want more. Come and join them at the Gumball Rally, Saturday, August the 21st. All of our proceeds support our mental health project. Rotary Central, serving to change lives.
Do you have plans to travel to the UK? You must provide a letter of certification from Public Health and your vaccination certificate issued in the Cayman Islands. If traveling to the UK via the Bahamas, the United States, Canada, Jamaica, or any other Amber List country. If you are traveling directly to the UK from Cayman, no letter of certification is necessary. Letters of certification may be requested by emailing vaccinecertification@hsa.ky. Travelers must attach a copy of their vaccination card as a screenshot attached to their email request. All requests will take 3 business days to process, and letters will only be issued within 3 weeks of a person's date of travel. Letters of certification are only needed if traveling to the UK via any Amber List country. Travelers to the UK coming directly from the Cayman Islands do not require a letter of certification.
The Department of Education Services and the Public Health Department would like to inform parents that health screening for new students will take place during the summer until August 23rd across Grand Cayman schools. The Public Health Department will be visiting your district schools and will be contacting you regarding school health screening appointment. Health screenings will also continue during September and October for those children who were not screened during the summer.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Just about 7 minutes until our 2 p.m. headline news. If you would like to join our conversation, 1-800-534-8255. Again, we have in studio Mr. Loxley Banks and on the line Mr. Kem Jackson. And we've been discussing the beach erosion issue that's been affecting the 7 Mile Beach corridor, and we've recently seen the press release that the Honorable Premier and his team are working on their short-range and long-range solutions on how to address the erosion problem on 7 Mile Beach. Mr. Jackson, during the break, I was speaking with Mr. Banks. Now, you mentioned the currents along, or the sand movement on our 7 Mile Beach South Sound side goes from north to south. Are you able to shed any light on how that affects our eastern districts?
Well, I think most of the eastern districts, I know for sure, north side. When they had the high one, it's a couple of walls built up there by Captain Miller House. And his yard does not have a wall. So the sun disappeared in front of all those. I was told, I didn't see it. But Captain Miller, Jerry's not what I'm talking about, he found a piece of wood that was down in a house in Northwest Point. I can't tell you what the road on it, but anyway, they had it in the house, and he found it in his yard after the hurricane.
In Northside.
That gives you an idea of what goes on, you know?
Sure, no, it's amazing how it traveled across the sound, and it's just interesting to see how that would affect the eastern districts and their sand.
You know, on a lot of the coastline, there are reefs out there, which again affects the dynamics of what's happening. You know,
come over the reef. No mistake about that. But this Mark, this hurricane was coming from south. You know.
Yeah, well, it's just an example of
what happened.
What happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't judge for the sea, And another thing I forgot to tell you, Stingray City. We studied that. I don't want to get in all we found, but the sand from that goes to Barker's Beach. So sometimes you hear the fishermen, the beach is disappearing in Stingray City. It goes there, but it don't stay. It comes back again, and it goes to Rum Point. And it don't stay there, it comes back. I mean, said this is something now that I know. I studied it with them. I watched it, and the way it was done and everything else. So you cannot fool with nature. You hear? If the beach, now let's say West Bay, that was there from forever. And since they put the wall, well, this is what happened. So you do not fool with nature. Leave it alone, and everything will be okay. You cannot. You take, for example, now the old people. They used to call up to the end of the beach going Georgetown, Haida Bay. Now, what that meant, of course, is hotels there now. Loxley Beach Hotel is there now by the.
Well, you're getting up towards after you pass the Marriott, and you get up towards a lot of stuff's going on up there now. And the latest one, I guess, is the one right there, Pageant Beach, which is part of what was called Haida Bay.
That's where Haida Bay is.
Yeah.
It was.
But listen to this now. You heard what I said. The old people used to call it Haida Bay.
Yeah, that was where the bay ended.
So, Loxley, you know this. There's no such a thing as beach for them, you know. They were bay.
Yeah.
I going out on the bay to take a little swim. I going out on the bay to talk a little foolishness tonight. You remember by the old cannon? You remember that?
Oh yeah. I was going out on the bay to see her.
Yeah.
So the bays where all the good stories happened. Really.
What is the end? That's the end of the day. But people has built stuff in it, and what happened? They found out there was no bay.
You just can't infringe on nature.
No,
and there's been a lot of infringing going on, in this environment for a long time, and
it speaks volumes. We start seeing the stories about development around the islands, and that's always one of the major controversies in the conversation is.
But this is not the only place it's going on. I recall when I was in Hawaii in 58 and 59. They had a big problem there. KHVH, Kaiser's Hawaiian Village. Kaiser, he was one of the big developers in Hawaii.
Okay.
He built what was Kaiser's Hawaiian Village. And he had KHVH radio, he had KHVH television, he had all these kind of things. And they had the same problem at Kaiser's Hawaiian Village. And I think they tried to build walls to mitigate it, and it didn't help.
It's one of those scenarios because the walls at first appear to be a visually safe scenario.
Well, what should I how can I word it? It is a negative. I don't know if I can find words. A negative perception.
Sure.
Of what is perceived as a positive development.
Absolutely. It's a false negative, right? You think it's a false situation. You think you're actually doing good, but you're actually doing more harm in the process. On that note, let's go to our 2 p.m. headline news. When we come back, we'll pick up the conversation with Mr. Jackson on the line and Mr. Banks, and we do have one caller on the line as well. Back with more talk today, right after this.
Continuing the Caymanian tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
Let's read the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. Seafarers seeking to apply for the first time for the ex gratia benefit that government awards seafarers may now register through the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association. Hard copies of the application can be found at the Cayman Islands Seafarers Association, and digital copies are available on the NAU website, nau.gov.ky. In international news, meteorologists have named the 6th Atlantic storm of 2021, hinting at an above-average season ahead. The U.S. National Hurricane Center has bestowed the name Tropical Storm Fred on a low-pressure system barreling through the Caribbean. The 6th named storm of the year usually forms at the end of August. In coming days, it could bring strong winds, heavy rain, and high seas to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. An aggressive campaign to cut methane emissions can buy the world extra time to tackle climate change, experts say. Studies suggest that 30 to 50% of the current rise in temperatures is down to this powerful but short-lived gas. Major sources of methane include agriculture and leaks from oil and gas production and landfills. A woman is under investigation in Australia for allegedly pretending to be a doctor. The hospital said it discovered that she was not registered with the Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Agency, which accredits medical staff in the country. The 27-year-old could face fraud offences. No charges have been brought. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I am Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne E. Banks, joined in studio with Mr. Loxley Banks, and on the line with Mr. Kim Jackson. And we've been discussing the beach erosion situation with the recent announcement the Honorable Premier is rallying his team to look at the possible solutions to address and mitigate the beach erosion issue along the 7 Mile Beach corridor. If you have any comments to include in our conversation, 1-800-534-8255. On that note, we do have a second caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Mr. Singh. Thank you very much for your stepping in and hosting. I'd like to thank Mr. Jackson and Mr. Banks for their invaluable island wisdom voice coming from way back. I am curious about two questions. One, Indigo Bay, which is in Red Bay, a new development, is perched on one of the lowest parts of Grand Cayman. And I'm curious about what the forecast could be in the light of that development. And at one time, that area was touted as a primary spot by our mariners regarding a relocation for our port. That's one. The second question is, if we had gone ahead and developed the port as planned, can you, gentlemen, in your estimation and your thought process, considering salt of the soil, being around for a long time, mariners, tell us a little about what could have happened or what, consistent with Mr. Jackson's recollections of the expansion of the port back in the 70s, 60s, and what they were planning to do with it, whether it would have affected 7 Mile Beach any further. Thank you very much for your kind voices.
Caller, thank you very much. So a two-part question. The first one was related to the Indigo Bay development going on across from Grand Harbor in that little corner there. Thoughts on, given that low-lying area, the impact of that development on the sea, etc. And the second part was, had we developed the port last year, or what would the further development have been, or further costs have been to the beach line and 7 Mile? Mr. Banks?
Well, I think as far as the project across from, I guess the Hurleys, that's what we're talking about. The project that's across from the Hurleys, yeah. Well, I believe in that bay, if you want to call it Red Bay, or
sure, that's Red Bay.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of deep water in there, so there's some mitigation there, and I believe that there's at least part of a reef on the outside there.
There is, yes, the south sound stretch there.
So I think there's some mitigation there, but still, if you get a big wind coming through, that does not really give you much mitigation.
Was there? He had mentioned that back in the day or previously there had been discussion about a port going into that kitty there.
Well, yeah, years ago when they were talking about expanding the port, so forth and so on. There was all kind of things going on that they thought that might have been the best location for it, and there was the East End project and all over. And in fact, one time there was a big push to dredge the North Sound to put a port.
I heard about that. Yes.
To put a port up there, and I think Open Line killed it. Did
Open Line can do that at times.
So, but and as far as the dock going, what I saw planned, what I saw them had on paper there, I think there's no doubt about it. It would have had some drastic effects on 7 Mile Beach. It would have had some drastic effects on 7 Mile Beach.
There wouldn't have been no houses left there out on the beach. I guarantee you that. They would all have been. You know what would have happened if they had dredged the Georgetown? Jeez. I hate to even think about it.
So what could have happened had they dredged, Mr. Jackson? Had they dredged that?
All the sand and everything. Suppose now, just say you dredge the cruise ship to come in. The sand that go in South Sound, where we're going, down in that. And where we're going from there, out in the ocean. Just like the ships. I mean,
so they're lost it all to the ocean.
Huh?
So all the sand would have been lost out to the ocean.
Yes, you don't have to be on all the fish and conchs. They fall down there, the conch fall down there, you never see him again. And all that. And let me tell you something, now since they were talking about the land. You know that we got stuff holes on the right under the ground. And came on that nobody even knows about. Loxley can tell you, down by the town hall in West Bay, when we were going there to school, it's a place just up the road. If you go there now and you tap your foot on the ground, you can hear boom, 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 boom. Loxley?
So what is that we're...
Well, you know, I think over the years, you know, well, we don't know. I've never heard it said how old they think that this rock is. Yeah. Well, we know that from at least 520 to 518 years. Sure. But it could be 50,000 before that. And throughout the island, there was a thing.
You remember that, though?
Yeah. Throughout the island, there still exists what they call an earthquake split, and it was more pronounced in certain sections of the island. But you could go there, and in some places the split might have been 2.5 feet wide.
Oh yeah.
And it had water down there, and you could throw a 15-pound lead sinker down in there on a 5,000-foot line, and you wouldn't.
5,000 feet into these crevices.
Yeah, you'd be still slacking.
Lastly, you remember, you mind they call cooling? Remember his well?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
He marked the way he wanted the well. But he was marking it with a crowbar, you know, hitting it so that people could see. And the top dropped out. Wasn't no 4 foot under the ground, you know. I was right on the surface.
Yeah.
And that well is still there.
There are probably crevices all over this. This rock.
Sure.
Here's the idea. Since we got in, this is a different thing now. I thought we were. I'm thinking of the big beach, but it's a place right up here, Loxley over here, the Sea Pond.
Which pond?
Sea Pond.
It was fish there, all kinds of fish. Snappers, 85-pound snapper, and oh God, it was full of fish. And now it got less and less and less. And a couple of months ago, a friend of mine called me, and his girlfriend caught a fish. And that fish was me and my good friend Bob Soto caught one of them in the North Sound. It was the first time I ever seen it. And we took a picture and they sent it up to some university. And they say if you ever catch him again, you be sure, no matter what it costs, you be sure and save him and get him up to us as quick as possible. And lo and behold, he said he only traveled in deep water. And this girl caught this fish a couple of months ago in Sea Pond. So that'll give you an example now about holes, eh?
But they didn't realize what it was, and it was not preserved to be set up.
And it's only in deep water that fish is caught. So it's amazing to go back to that 5,000.
How he got there? He might have took a month, might have been a year, you know, because he was under there and he might have been eating fish and just come along and still going, and he showed up there and she caught him.
Well, you know, in reference to Sea Pond, there's always been the presumption that it does have a feed from out on the other side of Barker's Reef into Sea Pond, and there were big fish up there. In fact, very few people caught fish up there, but when they did catch them, he was huge fish.
So where is Sea Pond? I don't.
It's up in the Barcus area.
Okay, but inland.
Yeah, inland.
It's a beautiful place, you know.
Yeah, you remember we dragged a dinghy from Sea Pond out to Barcus, Barcus Reef to Barcus Bay one time during the month of October in what we could consider bad weather. Dragged it through all the mangroves, and I'm not sure yet how we got that craft from Sea Pond out there through all that dense stuff.
Crazy.
I'm sure you two have a wealth of stories from Hedda Bay to Barkers. There's some stories in between there that you guys.
Oh yeah. So, well, the thing about it.
You see, you remember these grass species up here?
Old stores?
No, up at Bob, you were here coming up.
Yeah, Johnny's place.
Yeah. And you remember all of them cows? It was feeding what they used to Anton Malas.
Yeah.
You remember the cows used to drink water out of the wells?
Yes.
Yep. The water is right there. So, and it's not just one place. It's a shallow rock. And these places you see, they starting to fill up. It's a shallow thing. You go with the thing and you can crack that and the cow can drink water out of it.
Oh, well,
Remember
that? The water table, some places too, 18 inches down.
Oh, they're talking about 10-story buildings and stuff. They better watch out. They better be good.
We're definitely covering a lot of territory on development. I guess in a bit of trouble here today. We do have to go to our last commercial break of the show. A quick announcement to our listeners out in the sister islands. There might be an interruption to your signal and service as they do some work on our generator system. On that note, let's go to our commercial break. When we come back, we'll pick up our conversation with Mr. Loxley Banks and Mr. Kem Jackson. Back with more talk today right after this.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s. And today, we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Welcome, everyone. everybody. Good evening to you. Welcome to the Miss Teen Pageant.
The Lions Club and Leo Club of Grand Cayman presents the 40th staging of the Miss Teen Cayman Islands pageant on Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Be there to cheer on these 9 beautiful ladies as they represent their district and vie for the title of Miss Teen Cayman Islands. This is a pageant you don't want to miss. So come and show your support for your favorite contestants Saturday, August 28th at the Lions Center. Gates open at 5 p.m. with showtime at 7 p.m. sharp. Admission is $25 prepaid or $30 at the gate. Limited premium tickets cost $40. Tickets are available at Eventpro, Winner's Circle, Funky Tanks, or from the contestants and Lions members. Sponsored by Digicel, Winner's Circle Sports, CUC, King Sports Center, Finishing Touch, and Radio Cayman.
The Department of Environment would like to invite Cayman Brac residents to a special community meeting at the Spot Bay Primary School this Thursday, 12th August at 7:30 p.m. to discuss the conservation plan for the shrub known as Sybil's crownbeard. The entire world population of Sybil's crownbeard grows on the north-facing cliffs of Cayman Brac's Bluff. The community meeting is this Thursday, 12th August, 7:30 p.m. at Spot Bay Primary School. To learn more, download the plan from www.conservation.ky.
Office Supply in the Marquee Plaza on Lawrence Boulevard is a participating sponsor of the New Noko's Story, Thursday at 7 p.m. on Radio Cayman. The story of a modern Cayman Islands passenger ship of its era, which departed Cayman with its destination being Tampa, Florida, in July 1936 and was never heard or seen of again. Office Supply, widest selection at the lowest prices. The back-to-school headquarters, up to 20% discount on school supplies. Visit them today and enter to win laptops, printers, and tablets. Office Supply, 946-1200.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks today. Thank you again for listening in. We've been very pleased to have Mr. Loxley Banks and Mr. Kem Jackson join us throughout most of our show today to discuss the beach erosion issue, something that affects all of us in Cayman who enjoy our beaches, not only the ones who are currently struggling. Mr. Jackson, for most of the show, we've discussed how the problem came to be, and most of it, or if not all the problem, tends to stem from the walls and the building of the walls along the shoreline, which have just changed the way in which the water flows and how the sand moves with it. You mentioned that the solution long-term is, to quote your Cold War reference, was tear these walls down, was the solution. Is there any other solutions from your experience that you think would assist, whether now in the immediate future or in the near future, to affect that and reverse the beach erosion problems, except for just tearing down the walls?
Not that I can think of at the moment, but let me tell you now, before we had anything done to the beaches, you see, it was cocoa palm trees,
Juniper trees,
yeah, and
even some almond trees along the high water line.
So yeah, so
that was your wall.
Let me tell you, the sun would come up, and it get it off. It would come up, and they would go in the cocoa palm bush, and when the water was coming back out, it would come out. It's not going exactly where it came from, but it would go up here, close to it. You know, it would drop off close to the cocoa plum bush. Remember the ridges that used to be there?
Yeah, the Cockspur ridges and all the other stuff. Yeah.
And now, when you hit this wall, what's going to happen? I mean, common sense. I give you a good example in mind now. This is experience now. I give you a good example with a bottle, and I can take a bottle. I got one in my house, and I can show anybody. It's simple as ABC.
Sure, it is simple physics at that point. We do have one caller on the line. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for holding patiently for us.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Loxley and the panel there.
Hello, Cap.
Yeah.
You were just the man I was going to tell my wife to call you and tell you what you know about me. And that you thought I didn't know. Tell him the story.
About sometime, I don't remember, it was last year or
no, it was yeah, before that, I believe.
What story? I got so many. Which one you want me to touch? Cam, which one you want me to talk about?
That you didn't think the San Ventus or something, you seen it.
Yes, I seen that. And it was a very clear Sunday, and the sun, I could see the sun passing what we call Coconut Walks and key apartments, going right up in the channel, going into. So I had kind of doubted you when you told me that, but I see.
You told me so.
But I seen it with my own eyes. Well, I couldn't see it with other people's eyes. I seen it with my own eyes. But exactly what you're saying, I didn't believe it, but I've seen it. I am a believer now because I've seen it. Okay. The sun was going right up in the channel, going right up to Pulmadam Point, up there. And that's one thing. And about the split. Do you know it's a split right across where Dr. Thompson building is right there in Georgetown, and the hospital parking lot. It comes right up to the across the place going up there, and what the devil do you call it? It is in Bartleheim land. It's a split there. I can carry you there tomorrow and show you where it's at. And I was talking to Niels Godfrey a few months ago, and the split comes in back of his yard. So that split, I think, it comes right through Georgetown, right across Dr. Thompson building, across the hospital, right up there by the playing field in the high school up there.
Yeah, well, I think it runs throughout the island. At different places, it's more pronounced, but it's throughout the island. I'm sure that you could trace it. You know, you could start in West Bay, in Bosun Bay, where it ends up somewhere over there, and trace it all the way up to probably East End.
This is right
in the play field there, it used to be a well, a deep. When I was told it didn't have any bottom, because somebody, many years ago, somebody put a weight on the ball of thread and slack it down there, and it never did bring that.
Yeah, no, I know there was a split that I described a little while ago that went through a grass piece that the family had down there, and it had some of the biggest crabs in the world that I've ever seen in my life. In fact, sometimes I would be milking the cows tied up close to it, and when they come out, I pick up my bucket and go.
Lastly, you don't remember that big split in the mother yard right in the back there?
Yes, definitely, yes.
Sometimes I was born, I heard it, or fake split, I was all I don't know what it was, but
yeah. Well, I think the logic would tell you that calling it an earthquake split, I think, because that would be the only way that I think that you could see things come asunder like that, unless it was just a freak
of nature that.
Yeah, in the development, they decided you came on a splitting.
In the development of a mountain many moons ago.
And I'd like to say one more thing, if it's
please.
I wonder how many people realize that South Sound was dredged out, because all the play field, fish pond, all that area up there was that's all dredged. That was all dredged in the 70s, I think it was. And,
I didn't know that.
yes, that's what that, because it was in 1936 when the first cruise ship came. There was only two tourist attractions: Fish Pond and Hell West Bay. That's where the tourists went.
Right. Yeah.
Fish Pond. There was big tar ponds in that place, and Commissioner Carter built a dock. We used to call it a bridge that you could go out there and fish. And so all of that, where the rugby field is, go right away up there. That's all filled in.
That was where the big pond was.
That's where the pond was.
Yeah.
And since they cut that channel there in the reef, the current, the tide goes, the current goes out through that channel, because before that was cut, from Madame Point right by the graveyard there, it was hard to put the row boat against that. The current was so strong. Now it turns and go out the other way, but the sun it moves around close in, and it moves the sand. So I just thought I would drop that in on you.
That's very helpful. I had no idea that was all dragged and filled in, and when that was cut. So that was the 70s that all happened.
No, late 60s, early 70s.
I'll tell you what, you three definitely are a wealth of information. I hope you're able to contribute to the solution in the future for 7 Mile Beach.
Well, John Paul, I've been a diver all my life, for half my life was underwater, and it's a hole right off of since we got into the holes, and there's a hole right out in the west end, just a little bit to the south. It's a black hole. And it's just a hole, and there has nothing around it. And the tourists used to like to go there. I don't know why. I caught him one time, and he told John, and John told Tom, and we go into that hole. And I could never figure out what it was. Nothing was there. So they were dredging. They were digging. This was when they first started digging these canals. They were right opposite the horseshoe left on the north side, It was Bud Jackson. He was, but they used to, they used to start up on land, and they would go out and dump the stuff and keep going out. That's how they. And he called me one day, and he said, I got a hole up here, and I dumped tons of mud in it. And he said, I can't fill it. I said, well, I can tell you why, because it's coming out in 50 feet of water. And I mean, these things, this is not saying that I heard or somebody told me or I seen this.
Well, that was the same thing up here in Fish Pond. It was a deep hole alongside the dock, and because in the dry weather, when the pond was very low, the fish would gather up in there.
Yeah.
It was you couldn't see the bottom of it. We all believed that it had an outlet to the ocean, to the sea there.
Yeah, like Paul, you see these swamps they're filling up and stuff. Where the water used to go before.
Yeah, well, I hope that somebody's listening and take a little advice, because we're just a little up on the mountain top, and I hope the weight of all these 100-story buildings are planning not like us. Okay.
You know who we is.
Mr. Jackson, Captain Paul, I do appreciate you guys taking the time to really sit down with us today, and you're both and along with Mr. Banks, are a wealth of information. As Captain Paul said, you have a lot of stories. Which one do you share today? So we'll have to let Sterling know to have you, all three of you, back on the show at some point in the future. Because you're a wealth of knowledge, and the history that you bring to the conversation of where and how some of the issues that we're seeing today started. I think you have a lot of solutions that could be beneficial today. So I thank you again for calling in today and joining us on the line today.
It was a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank all of you very, very much. I hope some of the people is listening.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having us, sir.
Thank you, Captain Paul. And to Mr. Banks, thank you again for very quickly rallying the team and the historian buffs and bringing them to the table today.
Yeah, well, I think, it's a subject that's on a lot of people's mind.
Sure.
And it's been on people's mind for a long time.
Absolutely.
And I think I believe we've got a little window here that there could be some corrective measures taken that could offer a degree of mitigation.
I think you're right.
But, unless, and they got to, in this case, I think they've got to, if you want to say, build another wall and say, no more walls. You can't go past this wall.
You can't go past this wall.
Yeah. And start backward.
Yep.
Absolutely. And maybe there can be some mitigation to the, and as far as, the future, what they were talking about 2-3 years ago, as I said before, there was no way that could have happened, that 7 Mile Beach would not have been adversely affected. And so, maybe some of the young folks coming up will take some of these thoughts and develop them further and think about the future. I mean, both Kim, myself, and Captain Paul, we're 3/4 home from the start to the finish. So it's the young folks coming up that that's going to have to pick this thing up, and it'll be those that it will affect. But thinking about that, and I've thought about this for a long time. I think that a lot of the young folks are just meshing in to what the situation is now.
Sure.
And they're not probably.
That doesn't help.
Yeah.
That doesn't help. They need there's some wisdom that they need from older generations, but following suit with the status quo doesn't solve today's problems.
Well, the best light on the future is one that shines from the past.
Sure. See, the wealth of wisdom that you all bring to the table. I do appreciate it. Mr. Banks, thank you again. On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for today's show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation. Our student guests from the Minds Inspired program that were here early in the show, to Mr. Banks, Mr. Jackson, and Captain Paul as well. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, thank you for sharing your afternoon with us. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a safe rest of your Wednesday.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening